Let's do a couple of examples, starting with this one. Let's say you are given a sequence there. They don't tell you what type of sequence it is, but you need to figure it out and then find the fifth term. My 5 is sexy. So let's determine what type of sequence it is. The first thing we're going to do, we are going to find the first difference and see if it is an arithmetic. Now, the first difference will be, remember, the following term subtract the previous term. So 3 minus -4. So 3 minus -4 is 3 plus 4, which gives us 7. Now 12 minus 7, it will give us 12 minus 3, it will give us 9. And then 23 minus 12 will give us, is that 11? Yeah, I'm slow. I'm actually slow with math. So this is not an arithmetic sequence because the first term is not constant. We do not have a common first difference. Now, to go further, let's now find the second difference and see if that is common, then we'll know that our sequence is a quadratic sequence. So 9 minus 7 will give us 2. 11 minus 9 will give us 2. So we know that our second difference is common, therefore our sequence is a quadratic sequence. Now, they want us to find the fifth term here. The easiest way that if you are looking at it right now, you would think the fastest way and the easiest way to find the fifth term is by 11 plus 2 will give us 13, right? And then 23 plus 13 will give us 36. We use our second difference to find our first difference and then use that to find the following term. It makes sense. So let's try to find the general formula, and then see if we look for the fifth term, we will find 36. Remember that this is n equal to 1, n2, n equal to 3, n equal to 4, and this is n equal to 5. Now let's find the general formula of the sequence. Remember that to find the general formula, we are going to focus on these three terms. These three terms. And we said that this is equal to 2a, this is 3a plus b, and that is a plus b plus c. So we're going to use those to find our general formula. Remember, our general formula comes in this format. So we also go in that direction. So we start with 2a. 2a equal to 2, divide by 2 on both sides, a is equal to 1. I can vouch that that is correct. Now, we go that direction, we now find 3a plus b is equal to 7. We use these first terms of each sequence. Now, we already have the value of a, which is 1, so we put it in there, and we have b equal to 7. Now, make b subject of the formula, it will be 7 minus, we transpose 7 minus 3, so b will be equal to 4. We then move again in that direction to a plus b plus c. Now, a plus b plus c is equal to minus 4. This term, this is a negative 4. So 2a, 3a plus b, ab plus a plus b plus c. We already have the value of a and we have the value of b. A is 1 and b is 4. So how much will our C be? We make C the subject of the formula. We have -4 transpose -4 transpose -1. So our 6 will be negative, our C will be -9. So now that we have A, we have B, and we have C, we now put them in our formula, a general formula for the nth term. So that is to say, Tn will now be equal to A, which is 1. A, we now have 1 here, n squared. B, which is positive 4n. Substitute B there, and then now we put C, which is minus 9. So this will be our general formula for that sequence. Now, we did this so that we can see if we get 36 for the 5th term. Now, that means we are looking for T5, which is substitute 5 in n, 5 squared plus 4 into 5 minus 9, that is 25, plus 20 minus 9, which is equal to 36. So we were correct in how we did it before. So if they just say find the 5th term, you are not forced to do all of this. You can just do that and find this. But if they say find the general formula, then this is how you find the general formula, and then you can find the term in any position. You can look for T1, T2, T3, and this will give you any term that you want in that sequence. Let's just draw a line here to separate the two problems. Now, our second problem, let's say we have Tn is equal to minus n squared plus 4n minus 4. For which n is Tn equal to minus 49? So we know that this general formula represents some sequence, and each term in that sequence has a value for its position, which is represented by n. So if they ask for which n is Tn equal to 49, they're asking you this minus 49, which position is it in your sequence? Which means that we're going to take the general formula and try to calculate the n. Now, let's do it quickly. We know that Tn is equal to 49, which means that this part of the formula will be equal to minus 49, which is minus 49. This part is equal to all of this. So minus n squared plus 4n minus 4. We substitute this minus 49, which is Tn, into Tn in our general formula, and then we solve for n. The first thing that we're going to do is to transpose the 49 so that one side is equal to 0. Then we have n squared plus 4n minus 4. And then when you transpose minus 49, it will become positive 49. And 49 minus 4, we know that it will be equal to 45. Now, to make it easier for myself, I'm going to multiply each term by negative so that my n squared here becomes positive instead of staying negative. So if I multiply by negative, this will become positive, this will become negative, and this positive will become negative. Now, this is where mathematical algebra comes back in now. We're now going to try to factorize. If you cannot factorize this quadratic equation, make sure that you use the quadratic formula. So remember that the quadratic formula is given by, for this, is given by x is equal to minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Practice this formula if you are going to have problem with factorizing a quadratic equation that looks like this. So if you quickly factorize, we'll have n, and then remember, because this is negative, that means the signs in these two will be different. So one will have a positive sign and one will have a negative sign. Now, what values that you can multiply to give 45? And then when you subtract them, they will give you -4. So 45 will get it by 5 and 9. Now 5 times 9 is 45, and 5 minus 9 will be 4. And then the bigger number here will take the sign of the middle term. So 9 will come here and 5 will come here. When the last term is negative, that means the signs in the two brackets will be different, and then the bigger number will take the sign of the middle term. Now that means n is either equal to -5 or n is equal to 9. Now, in a sequence, we count positions. Now, when you count a number of things, you cannot have a negative. You can't say, I have -5 potatoes, I'm -3 years old. So we're going to take the value of the positive, because that's how we count with positive real numbers. So for which n is Tn equal to -49, it will be number 9. It will be in position number 9. So -49 is term number 9. We can take this 9 and put it in here, and you'll find -49. A more complicated problem to work with. They say that Tn is T1, our first term, is equal to B. Our second term is equal to 3 times term 1. Now, I'm already going to start here and say, okay, T2 is 3 times T1. That means that it is equal to 3B, because T1 is equal to 3B. Term 3 is equal to 6, and the difference between T4 and T3 is 4. Determine the value of B. Now, this always helps. If they start giving you terms like this, let's take it back to the basics and say, okay, term 1 is B, term 2 is 3 times term 1, which means 3 times B. Term 3 is 6. And then we don't know term 4, but we know that the difference between term 3 and term 4 is 4. So we have some term 4 here. This is 6. The difference between term 4 and term 3 is 4. So 6 plus 4 means that term 4 is 10. Now, let's find these differences. We've used up all the information that we are given. Now, we start to figure out what we can from the given. We are going back to basics. So the difference here will be 6 minus 3b. Remember that to find the difference, takes the following term, subtract the previous term. So 6 minus 3b, and then 3b minus b, which is 2b. Remember that we are doing quadratic sequences here. So they would have told you that these terms are from a quadratic sequence. So we are going to look for a second difference also, not just the first difference of the sequence. Plus 3b. So the second difference of a quadratic equation is common. So these two terms are supposed to be equal to one another, which means that 6 minus 5b is equal to -2 plus 3b. because they are the second difference of a quadratic equation, and those terms are supposed to be equal to each other, just like here. So we'll now solve for b. Take the numbers on one side. We have 6 plus 2. Take this one on this side. We'll have 3b plus 5b. That's 8. That's 8b. Divide by 8 on both sides. B is equal to 1. It's quite an interesting problem. It actually comes from a question paper of CAPS in South Africa. Now, let's do the last problem so that we close off this topic on a high note. It says that the quadratic sequence has a second difference of 4. Our second common difference will be all equal to 4, and T2 and T8 are both equal to 118. So does the pattern have a minimum value or a maximum value? By minimum or maximum value, what they mean is that in a quadratic function, you'll either have a function that is concave up or one that is concave down. If it's concave up, then this value here will be our minimum value, because it will be the smallest value, and then your graph will go up and up and up and never come back down. But if it's concave down, your graph will go down, down, down from whatever maximum value. This will be the highest point of the graph that it goes, and then it will go back that way, which is concave down, which means you'll have a maximum value. The good thing about that is that in a quadratic formula, you look at the value of a. So if a is positive, if a is positive, then you have concave up, and if a is negative, you have concave down. So if your a is positive in this formulas, then you'll know that your quadratic function will be concave up, and you will have a minimum value. But if the value of a, whatever value is here, is negative, just like here, just like how this value was negative, then you know that if you draw this function, your quadratic function will be concave down. Therefore, you'll have a maximum value. And that is what they are asking here. They're just basically asking, find the general formula and see the sign of a. Is it positive, is it negative? Now, we know that the common difference is 4. And from a common difference, we know that our common difference is equal to 2a. So we can use 2a to find, we can use this second common difference that they gave us and say, well, since 4 is second difference, that means it is equal to 2a, because we showed it earlier in the video. So we divide by 2 on both sides, then we know that a is equal to 2. Now, because a is positive, that means our function will be concave up and will be having a minimum value here. So our pattern has a minimum value. Now, they want Tn. We do not have the first difference, so we cannot continue with 2a